Hello and welcome to part 6 in my how-to guide series, Multiplayer. My how-to guide series of videos are a set of tutorials designed to simplify and explain the various important aspects of Microsoft Flight Simulator so you can get the best out of your experience. If you've missed any, I'll leave a link to the playlist in the notes below. Welcome also to the Simhanger. My name's Mark, the Simhanger, for all things flight sim related. Just a point of clarity, what we won't be covering today are the online flying platforms such as VATSIM, IVAO and so on. I'll be covering that in a separate and future video. What we're talking about today is the built-in multiplayer function within Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is flexible, adaptable, and it gives you the opportunity to meet other like-minded simmers and have some fun. As an extension to this video and using all the elements that we'll be looking at today, it's my intention to introduce a Simhanger monthly fly-in, and you're invited. Make sure you're subscribed because I'll be posting a video with all the fly-in details in a couple of weeks' time. For each fly-in, we'll be flying in a different part of the world and different challenges. And to kick off, well, it'll be about a 1-hour flight. It's just for fun, going from A to B, and just so that we get a feel of what multiplayer is all about. And I really hope you can join me. We'll also be inviting another YouTube creator at each of these flights, so we get an opportunity to talk and meet other YouTubers as well. Well, with that all out the way, let's get into multiplayer and let's get started. The format that we'll use for this tutorial is we'll start by looking for a flight as it contains some information that we'll need, and then we'll run through each stage step by step as we prepare to join the multiplayer flight. I'd encourage you to go all the way through this tutorial as there's various tips and tricks covering various aspects, but if you just want to know the details on multiplayer itself, you can skip to multiplayer options. There are a number of different ways and resources we can find multiplayer information. You can do a search on YouTube and see who's streaming multiplayer flights, and the same would apply to Twitch. And there are a number of websites that will give you information. But the method we're going to use today is we're going to go through the Microsoft Flight Simulator official forums. So let's head over to the main Microsoft Flight Simulator website. Then from the top menu, choose Forums. And we're first presented with a list of discussion categories. There's one marked Multiplayer to connect with our fellow simmers from around the globe. And here are listed various clubs as well as individuals looking for somebody to fly with or inviting you to fly with them. But going back to the main forum pages, the one we're interested in the most is Community. Let's click on that. And from here you're looking for community events. Let's open that. And here various individuals as well as clubs have listed their events, from world tours to New Zealand bush flying. I find the easiest way to look at this is click on calendar. This way you can see what's on each day. I'm looking to fly on the 14th. Each listing is a separate fly-in. Click on it and it will bring up the brief details, a summary of what the fly-in entails. This will help you choose a flight that suits your timings and preferred days. As I'm based in the UK, some of these timings are difficult, but the Irish Flight Club, West Atlantic Way, a tour of the West Coast sounds ideal. If I click on the pop-up, I can get some more details. It tells me it's on Sunday, 14th of February, that's the day I want. And it shows me some basic sim settings. Set the time to 12 noon, clear skies, and the North EU server. It's a VFR flight and light aircraft are most suitable. And they're even showing a summary of the route at the bottom. So I'd like to join this multi-flight, so let's get some more details. I can get that either by going through Facebook or through Discord. I'm going to choose Discord. For those of you not familiar with Discord, let me explain what it is. It's an application that allows like-minded people in a particular subject to get together. You need a link to access the server, and that link is also your invite. And depending on how the Discord server is set up, it will support both voice and text chats, the posting of news and information, pictures and other media links. For multiplayer with voice support, you will need Discord or similar application. To use Discord, you can download the application and install it on your PC, or if you don't want to do that, you can open Discord in your browser. You will have to log in, however. Install is quick and easy. I won't cover that here, but there's a ton of information on YouTube. The link I clicked on was also my invite for the Irish Flyers Club, and on the left-hand side are the category directories. Under events is the information we've already seen, but I've now clicked on flight plans. And this shows me various other information. But what I'm most interested in is the flight plan. Most multiplayer sites will post a flight plan. The flight plan may be posted in one of two formats. Little nav map, as indicated here with the file extension starting with LNM. Or if it's just a .pln directly, you can import that straight into Microsoft Flight Simulator. So I'm going to download this flight plan and then exit the Discord. Little Navmap is a free planning tool, which is very versatile and flexible and is a recommended download and aid for all simmers. I'll leave links in the notes below. It's a commonly used application within the flight simming world. This is a standalone application and is not directly linked to Microsoft Flight Simulator or any simulator. My flight plan is now downloaded and I've opened up Little Navmap. From the topmost menu I open up File and then Open Flight Plan. I'll now browse to where I saved the flight plan that I've downloaded, which in this case is under Downloads. Click on that and click Open. Remember, I only need to do this step if it was not a .pln file. Navmap can also read .pln files. My flight plan is now in Little Navmap. And of course, if you're joining a multiplayer flight and you didn't want the flight plan anyway, you're just going to follow along, well, you can skip this step entirely. However, I want the flight plan imported into Microsoft Flight Simulator, which in turn will import it into my GPS in my aircraft, which will just help keep me on course during the fly-in. Microsoft Flight Simulator can't read Little Nav maps, but we do have the opportunity to export the flight plan as a Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 plan. So let's do that. And you can save the flight plan to any chosen location. Just remember where it is. I have a separate location for multiplayer flight plans and I'll save it there. And we're done. Let's now head into the sim. From the Flight Sim main menu, we want to head into World Map, so click on that. Once in the world map, you can either hit the space bar or click on Load Save at the bottom. And it will come up with a menu giving us an option to load a flight plan. Let's choose that. Now browse to where you saved the flight plan, click on it and then hit Open. And the sim will then import the flight plan directly. And there it is, and it looks pretty much exactly the same as we saw in Little Navmap. So we've now got our flight plan in, and it's now time to set up the sim for multiplayer. The first thing we want to do is choose a suitable aircraft from the top left-hand side. And this will take us into our aircraft menu selection. The current aircraft I've got selected is the TBM 930 turboprop. That's not suitable for this VFR flight. As in the Discord they did mention they're going to be travelling at an average of about 100 to 110 knots. So I need to choose an aircraft that's suitable. So on this occasion I've chosen the Cubcrafter X Club. And if you want to, you can also choose a livery. The selected livery will only be visible to yourself and anybody else who has that livery installed. Let's now click on Weight and Balance. And it's here that you can adjust your fuel. The multiplayer flight that we've selected is relatively short, so 50% should be quite fine. Must just remember to change tanks. Not related to multiplayer, but while I'm here, if you click under ATC options and tail number, that's where you can add in any name that you want and it will appear on your aircraft. However, the name won't be visible in multiplayer mode. We're done here, let's click on Close. So far we've found a multiplayer flight to join. We know how to import flight plans into Microsoft Flight Simulator and we've chosen our aircraft. and made sure we've got enough fuel. So now we need to go and change some of the sim settings. So from the top left hand corner, click on the home button and then options, and we're going to choose assistance. And from the selected menu options, we're going to choose failure and damage. And as flights can be a little chaotic at times, I suggest crash, aircraft stress and engine stress damage be disabled. It's up to you if you want to leave icing effects on or off. This will prevent crash damage and prevent you from having to restart. Next, click on Navigation Aids. There are a couple of options here that make finding your way around a bit easier during the flight. You can put your point of interest markers on if you want, as well as fauna, which will display animals, but these are purely optional. The one I do recommend is put airport markers on. If you do go a little bit off track, this will help you get back on course. All the changes we want are now done. Hit apply and save, and let's go back to the main menu, and this time we're choosing general. And from here we want to click on the traffic tab. And under aviation traffic you'll see show traffic nameplates, and you can choose to have that either on or off. If you have it on, it will show the gamer tags whilst you're in multiplayer, and so you'll be able to see who is who. It does make the display a little bit more cluttered, so this selection is really one of personal preference. The second consideration is under the AI and multiplayer traffic detail, and you have the option to use generic plane models under the multiplayer option. If you have this on, then the sim will use default aircraft to display other aircraft, rather than try and load more complex models. Having this on reduces the load on your PC and on the sim, and can help prevent pauses and stutters, but it's really based on your system and your internet bandwidth. I normally have this on. That's all we need to do here, so we can apply and save, and now let's head back to the home screen and then back to the world map and our flight plan. Before continuing to set up for our multiplayer flight, let's get an overview of the multiplayer settings overall, as they can be a little bit confusing. We're zooming into Heathrow, as I'll use this as an example. Currently no traffic. Click on flight conditions in the top right hand corner to see my settings, and I'm currently not in multiplayer mode at all. Under multiplayer I'm group only, live and AA traffic is off, and weather is preset. If I change that now to live weather, note the weather and time is greyed out at the bottom. This defaults to live weather only when the live player option is selected. And I've also now selected live traffic. When live player mode is selected, only those with live player mode on are visible. Alternatively, if you select all players, for example, this will display everybody regardless of settings, and weather and time is variable. Let's choose live players and live traffic and go back to Heathrow. And this time we should be able to see some traffic. And the traffic we can see are only those simmers that have live players enabled. Note it does take a little while, sometimes up to a minute, to update fully. But as we've enabled live players, we can see there is traffic at Heathrow. Let's go back to our multiplayer settings by clicking on flight conditions again. And this time I'm going to click on all players and go back to Heathrow. Previously I had 5 aircraft and now I've got 6. This is showing me everybody that is at Heathrow as I'm on all players. If you zoom out on the map, then other players are represented by green dots. Just a point to note, if you're on the all players setting and you're using preset weather as opposed to live weather, during your flight you can vary the weather using the InSim toolbar and choosing weather. You can also vary the time, but note this only affects what you see, your time and weather. It has no impact on other parties flying. The third multiplayer setting that we haven't covered so far is group only. And this is a special multiplayer session, and only people designated as friends can join the group. It's by invite only. The icon along the top with a single head is where you can add friends. By clicking on this, it'll tell you whether any of them are online. Click on add a friend and you get the opportunity to add in that person's tag so that you'll know whether they're online or not. The twin-headed icon is where you can create a group under the multiplayer settings and fly just with those people. To get somebody's tag, just click on them and a label will appear. Enter that in the friend box. They will receive a notification, and if they accept, well, you've now got a friend. To add somebody to a group, as mentioned, they've got to be a friend in the first place, and then you get an option to invite them to a group. Within a group flight, whoever creates that group will determine the world, the rules and the weather applicable to that particular group, and only the creator or host can change those. So the multiplayer settings within Microsoft Flight Simulator are varied, and multiplayer is not dependent on you joining a group. By enabling live players or all players, depending on what weather conditions you want, you can go fly and the world will be populated with other simmers around you. Put your settings on multiplayer and look at the map, and you'll see that this is a very popular option for simmers. If you're flying in multiplayer and you're flying alone or just with a friend, well then of course the simulator settings in terms of crash, damage, etc. can be changed to suit what you want. Well, that's an overview of multiplayer flight. Let's get on and join the Irish Flying Club, and let's go West Atlantic way. When joining a multiplayer flight, the host or organizer will normally provide the details of the settings required to join that particular fly-in, and they'll be using one of two different options. They will always be using live traffic, and then either live players or all players. If it's live players, then you know that it will be live weather and time, etc. For the Irish Flying Club West Atlantic Way fly-in, they're using the multiplayer default setting, which is all players, live traffic, and weather is also preset. And they've recommended setting it to clear skies, or whatever you would prefer. In my case, I like a little bit of cloud, etc. in the sky, so I'm going to choose few clouds. It's a VFR flight, low and slow, and it shouldn't interfere, but just make it a little bit more realistic for me. And so in summary, for this fly-in, it's all players, live traffic, and the weather is preset. And you'll find these are the most common settings for multiplayer fly-ins. Let's just remind ourselves of some of the other settings. They're suggesting set the time to 12 noon, clear skies as we've discussed, and use the North EU server. I've got my starting position, but it's in my flight plan anyway, Letterkenny, and the flight will start at 6 p.m. GMT. I forgot to set my time, so back to my flight conditions and adjust the time to 12 noon. That'll do nicely. I'll now go back and now set the server by clicking on the icon in the top right hand corner. Make sure that you're online. The sim will automatically default to the server with the quickest ping. I'm going to take that off automatic and put it on the North Europe server. You need to be on the same server in order to see each other. Our setup for multiplayer is now complete. It's 10 minutes before the flight and I'm just zooming in and seeing, yes, there are other people there, I can see them. Time to start our flight, and the first thing I'm going to do is join the Irish Flyers Club server, as I want to hear what other people are saying and also want to be able to speak myself. We're using the Discord server for voice comms. So under the MSFS voice comms, I've clicked on the event category, and as you can see, it has added me to that group. Remember, Discord is used only for voice comms, although text can be used as well. Right at the bottom, I'm just activating my headphones and my microphone. One point, it's always a good idea to set up push to talk for your mic in the Discord settings. Remember to minimize and not close Discord. Voice comms enabled, let's go fly. We've spawned on the runway with the engines running. My setup looks good. I can see lots of people, and if I have a look at my map display, I can see my flight plans in there. That's all great. As most people will be spawning in the same place, it's normally a good idea to just move away from your spawn spot and pick a clear patch until you're ready to take off. Then it's time to say hello. Hi everybody, Simhanger, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear, good evening.
Hello.
Howdy. Alright, so this is Malin Head, the most northerly point in Ireland. So once we reach here, just get to the far side, and then we're going to bank left to heading up 240, and we'll head to another headland.
And this airport just got really busy.
Yeah, someone's on their roof.
A lot of traffic here suddenly.
Most fly-ins are for all skill levels. Beginner or experienced pilot, it doesn't matter. And if you crash, as I do quite regularly, well, no big deal. That's why we've turned off the damage. To get back on your feet, as it were, you need to know a few keys. Press the Y key to enter slew mode. 9 times out of 10, that'll right you straight away. If not, then hit the F4 key, and that'll elevate you up into the air. And then you can use your num keypads to change direction or rotate as needed. Being an expert pilot is not what fly-ins are about. They're about having some fun and getting together. I'm really pleased to let you know I'm setting up a Simhanger Discord server, and I'll be releasing details shortly. But the Discord server will serve other purposes as well. It will give you a whole lot of information in terms of news, an opportunity for us to all chat to one another via voice or text, and also a place where people can ask for help if they've got a problem and they can't seem to find the solution. Maybe somebody in the community can. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed my flight with the Irish Flying Club. Had a great time, great people, great conversation, and as it was low and slow flying, great scenery as well. Don't forget to subscribe if you're interested in joining my fly-in. Details will be posted in a couple of weeks. I hope you found this useful and informative. Thank you very much for joining me. Catch you again soon. Stay safe, everybody. Bye for now.